Hi, yeah, you read the title. So I'm going to cover why I don't like the term neurodivergent, why I still use it anyways, and what concept I'm orienting towards instead. Let's begin. What I dislike the most about the term neurodivergent is the implication that there is one brain that is correct and every other brain is incorrect. And generally, Western pathology is interested in looking at things as if they are isolated cases rather than having a more holistic view. So I firmly believe that everyone's brain processes information differently and in a way that is unique to them. An example of this would be siblings. How are two people who were raised by the same people in more or less the same conditions, how is it that they can have such a different approach to solving a problem, the same problem? My main issue with the way that neurodivergence is pathologized is that there are so many more factors than how your synapses are firing that influence how you process information. We're going to get into some of those other factors later in the video. So now that you understand my beef with the term neurodivergent, not the concept, the term, let me know what are some other ways that you like to express neurodivergence. I've heard neurospicy, I've heard neurodiverse. I recently met someone who was playing around with neurodistinguished. And it's funny because every time he said it, he would like adjust an invisible bow tie. So those are 3 alternatives to neurodivergent, but I want to know, what other terms have you heard that you like to use, or what is your preferred, your main terminology for the phenomenon of being neurodivergent? With that being said, right, I still use the label of neurodivergence because it is useful. The popularization really of neurodivergence has granted a lot of people permission to accept and accommodate for their needs. There are a lot of people in this world who need external validation to know that they're not wrong for existing, that the way that they are is not inherently bad. And so terms like neurodivergence, again, regardless of how they were originally used, serve to validate people, to help them feel seen. And the term neurodivergent is quite accessible to people, especially if they suspect they have something specific, but are not yet at a place of diagnosis or not yet ready to hold the title of a certain diagnosis. Like, neurodivergent feels like an accessible way in. And because we're human and we want to socialize, we want to be a part of a group, it's really nice to know that dealing with executive dysfunction can actually make you part of a larger community rather than isolating you, which is probably how a lot of people who didn't know that they have this felt before they found out. Neurodivergence gives people another point of connection to others, which is very valuable, incredibly valuable. And then the third reason that I still use the term neurodivergent is more business oriented, but again, it's accessible. That's what people are looking up. That's what people use when they are trying to learn more about themselves. I understand that it's a gateway to helping people fully connect with themselves and develop an understanding of how they operate best, which, by the way, is the focus of my program, Fortify. Oh yeah, we're doing an ad break, baby. Fortify is an incubator where we cultivate the practices that help you sustain the life you're building. One of the main outcomes of Fortify is to establish routines that you can commit to long term. These are things that feel good enough where you're able to show up reliably for yourself while trusting your timing. These are not mutually exclusive ideas. It can feel that way, but it never has been, never had to be. It's easy to commit to something for a week or even for a month, but if you are making a lifestyle especially if it's something you haven't seen before, you need systems to maintain that. Making lasting change requires sustained movement, enjoyable habits, and heavily myelinated neural pathways that keep you aligned to your goal. So if you want to learn more about Fortify, the links are in the description. Now I want to share the concept that I'm moving more towards rather than neurodivergent in its original definition. So what I'm moving towards instead of neurodivergence is more thinking about myself and others as an ecosystem. So let's imagine that you are cooking your great-grandmother's famous oxtail recipe, and you're adding in the spices and you got the Scotch bonnet and everything is stewing up real good. Do you think that the scents and the spices know that they're supposed to stay in the confines of the kitchen just because there are walls in the house? No, no, they don't care. The smell is going to permeate through the entire house. It's going to get into everybody's room. Walls be damned. Let's do one more example for the people who don't season their food and have no idea what I'm talking about. Let's say you have a knee injury. You might not even feel it in your knee. The pain might actually express through your hip or your ankle. And then to ease that pain, you start to overcompensate by putting more weight on the other leg. And now what started as an isolated knee injury has spread to your entire lower body. That is an ecosystem, okay? We as humans are an ecosystem. There's no aspect of your life that is not in conversation with all the other aspects of your life. So yeah, you might have ADHD, but still the particular way that you process information is impacted by so many other factors like birth order. Are you the youngest child or the oldest child? Where are you in your menstrual cycle if you menstruate? Or whether or not you had enough water to drink today. Like all of these things flavor how you move through the world, whether or not you're consciously aware. And I'm not saying that all of them have an equal amount of influence, but they are all certainly having some amount of influence in how you are making decisions, how you are moving, how you are interacting with your own neurodivergence. There is no separation in an ecosystem. There's distinction, certainly, because obviously my fingers have different functions than my thighs, but each piece of the system is in conversation with every other piece of that system. So that's why I move more towards thinking of us as ecosystems rather than using the way that your brain operates to determine if you are neurodivergent or neurotypical. You still need unique systems for dealing with yourself and what works best for you. So you need a thorough understanding of all the little factors that flavor who you are, how you think, and what you believe you're capable of. So you're neurodivergent. Congratulations. Okay, we have fun over here. We really do. But I don't want you to allow your entire sense of self to be wrapped up in the bullet points of some article about what it means to be bipolar. You have so many other things that are influencing how you interact with that neurodivergence on top of the neurodivergence itself. There you have it. As I said, I will still be using the term neurodivergent. I will still claim it because I know that it's a shorthand. It's the language that people who can benefit the most from my work are using, and so I will continue to use it. But once you get into my orbit, we're going to transition to a more holistic view of what it really means to work with your brain and how you naturally operate. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of the ecosystem as an analogy as opposed to neurodivergence and neurotypical? Is there some other way that you like thinking about it? Let me know.